Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Hare Ramo, Rama Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Rama Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo, Hare Hare. Ramo, 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 Hare Hare. हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, गो प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जाय उदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। 10 canto Prabhuji. 10 canto first part. English Prabhuji. Or we can read from here. That's fine. Okay, so let's start. राजधानी तथा साभूत सर्व यादव भूभुजाम मथुरा भगवान यत्र नित्यं सन्निहितो हरि राजधानी तथा साभूत सर्व यादव भूभुजाम मथुरा भगवान यत्र नित्यं सन्निहितो हरि राजधानी तथा साभूत सर्व यादव भूभुजाम मथुरा भगवान यत्र नित्यं सन्निहितो हरि माताजी Hare Krishna. Translation. Everyone is comfortable? English? Everyone knows now? Okay. Since that time, oh, sorry, synonyms. Rajdhani, the capital. Tatha, from that time. Sa, the country and the city known as Mathura. Abhut, became. Sarva Yadav Bhu Bhujam. Of all the kings who appeared in the Yadu dynasty, Mathura, the place known as Mathura, Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yatra, wherein, Nityam, eternally, Sanita, intimately connected, living eternally, Hari, the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Since that time, the city of Mathura had been the capital of all the kings of the Yadu dynasty. The city and the district of Mathura are very intimately connected with Krishna, for Lord Krishna lives there eternally. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It is understood that Mathura city is the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna. It is not an ordinary material city, for it is eternally connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vrindavan is within the jurisdiction of Mathura, and it still continues to exist. Because Mathura and Vrindavan are intimately connected with Krishna eternally, it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavan parityajyam padam ekam na gacchati. At present, the place known as Vrindavan in the district of Mathura continues its position as a transcendental place, and certainly anyone who goes there becomes transcendently purified. Navdeep Dham is also intimately connected with Braj Bhumi. Srila Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Shri Gaura Mandala Bhumi Yebe Jane Chintamani Tara Haya Vraja Bhume Vas. Vraja Bhumi here refers to Mathura Vrindavan, and God Mandal Bhumi includes Navdeep. These two places are non-different. Therefore, anyone living in Navdeep Dham, knowing Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the same personality, lives in Braj Bhumi, Mathura Vrindavan. The Lord has made it convenient for the conditioned soul to live in Mathura, Vrindavan, and Navdeep, and thus be directly connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Simply by living in these places, one can immediately come in contact with the Lord. There are many devotees who vow never to leave Vrindavan and Mathura. This is undoubtedly a good vow. But if one leaves Vrindavan, Mathura, or Navdeep Dham for the service of the Lord, he is not disconnected from Supreme Personality of Godhead. At any rate, we must understand the transcendental atmosphere of Mathura, Vrindavan, and Navdeep Dham. Anyone who executes devotional service in these places certainly goes back home, back to Godhead after giving up his body. Thus, the words Mathura, Bhagavan, Yatra, Nityam, Sanihito, Hari are particularly important. A devotee should fully utilize this instruction to the best of his ability. Whenever the Supreme Personal, Lord personally appears, he appears in Mathura because of his intimate connection with this place. Therefore, although Mathura and Vrindavan are situated on this planet Earth. They are transcendental abodes of the Lord. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जलशलाकाय चक्षुरुं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतात्पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरयातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णाभिस्ताय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. All right. Okay, so after a long time, I'll be giving English class because most of the places Hindi only, generally North India, even other parts of Maharashtra also. So first of all, I am very grateful and honored to be a part of ISKCON Dharwad Temple to be able to serve here. So my special gratitude to His Grace Sadayogi Prabhuji and all the devotees in the management that they allowed me and gave me this wonderful opportunity to serve you all. So thank you so much for that. And all the devotees who have taken their valuable time and they have come from different places. So as far as possible, I will try to present the topic. I will try to justify it according to the eyes of the previous acharyas. And it is for my purification. So I seek everyone's blessing and prayers. Hare Krishna. Okay. So Sripad Prabodhanand Saraswati Thakur in his Chaitanya Chandramritam, he says that if you want to know Radha and Krishna, and if you want to understand the tattva of Krishna, Radharani, right, or Vraj, then there is no other way. Gornitai, Gornitai, Gornita eva kevalam. Kalau nasti eva nasti eva nasti. Gatiranyata. And Srila Prabhupada, in one purport in the Bhagavatam, he says that what does it mean to go to Vrindavan? He says, what will you go and what will you do in Vrindavan? When you go there, what are you going to do? So here Prabhupada is encouraging us that we should go to Vrindavan because it's a transcendental place. And what Prabhupada says in the purport, he says that when one goes to Vrindavan, one gets intimately connected to the Lord. So that's the potency of the Dham. And that's true. But then in another purport, Prabhupada says that what are you going to do in Vrindavan? What can you understand about Vrindavan? What can you understand about Radha and Krishna? Then Prabhupada writes in the purport, the same purport. He says, actually going to Vrindavan means reading the books of the six Goswamis, like Rup Goswami, Jeev Goswami. And then he also names those books, Lalit Madhav, Vidak Madhav, etc. So basically, the entire tattva of the Dham is revealed by the Acharyas. There is no other way. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. Right? Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. No other way. Because all the secrets and all the transcendental truths of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are revealed by our Acharyas. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand anything. So now, how many devotees know that um, Krishna, well, the question is that whether Krishna came back to Vrindavan or not. How many devotees think that Krishna came back to Vrindavan? And how many think that Krishna never came back to Vrindavan? Never came back. Okay. Have you, how many devotees have read Shrimad Bhagavatam? So Bhagavatam itself clearly states Krishna went to Vrindavan couple of times. The thing is that we do not understand because we are not seeing through the eyes of the acharyas. So let's go through some verses from the Bhagavatam. First of all, we'll take some verses from the Bhagavatam where it says that Krishna is eternally residing in Vrindavan. That we have seen right now. But we'll see more verses. Krishna resides in Vrindavan eternally. Krishna resides in Mathura eternally. And Krishna also resides in Dwarka eternally. Let's see. So verse number 11, 31, 24. You can keep it on only because we'll be taking a couple of verses now from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is not even Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Because we understand Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a Gaudiya scripture. But Bhagavatam is like, it's open to everyone, right? All Vaishnava Acharyas, they follow that. If it is going to take some time, then what we can do, online we can go to the verse and we can just read the slok and the translation. Huh? 11:31:24. Yeah, 11:31:24. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. 31:24. Hare Rama, Rama. Okay, all right. So let's read only the slok and the translation. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah, one of you can. All right. Translation. So what this verse is saying? Eternally the Lord resides in Dwarka. Earlier it said eternally resides in Mathura, right? Or Vraj, basically. Verse number 4842.
Madhuvan and
Right? Okay. Madhuvan basically can refer to Mathura. Okay. Because Mathura is part of Madhuvan forest. There are 12 forests of Vrindavan. And Madhuvan is one of the forest, right? So what we have seen, Vrindavan, Mathura and Dwarka, Lord is eternally residing. Okay. So let's go to verse number 111:9. Yeah.
यर्यम्बुक्ष यर्हि अम्बुजाक्षापससारभो भुवान् कुरुन्मधुन्वातसुहृद्दृक्षया तत्राब्धकोटिप्रतिमक्षण भवेत् रविं विन्नाक्षोरिव नस्तवाच्युत. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes becomes useless as if bereft of sun.
Who is speaking this verse?
Mathura, Dwarka.
Dwarkavasis. What they are saying here? Where? Mathura Vrindavan. So you got the answer already from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is returning to Vrindavan. Right? So this is spoken by Dwarkavasi. Now let's see what the Mathuravasis speak. 10:44:13. So how many of you have done Bhakti Vaibhav or pursuing it? 1 to 6 cantos are covered in that, right? Bhakti Vedant. So that's 6 to 12 cantos. So 10:44:13. So I am like, matlab, you know, I assume that probably they should have covered this aspect. It's very important. 10:44:13. 1 3. So Krishna has left Vrindavan and he has gone to Mathura to kill Kams. So in the wrestling arena,
पुण्यापतव्रजभुवो यदयं नृलिङ्ग गूढपुराणपुरुषो वनचित्रमाल्यः गाः पालयन् सह बल क्वणयंश्च वेणुं विक्रीडयाञ्जति गिरित्ररमार्चिताङ्घ्रिः.
okay.
How pious are the tracts of land in Vraja, for there the primeval personality of Godhead disguising himself with human traits, wanders about, enacting his many pastimes. Adorned with wonderfully variegated forest garlands, he whose feet are worshipped by Lord Shiva and Lord Goddess Rama vibrates his flute as he tends the cows in the company of Balram.
Okay. So disguising himself with human traits, wanders about. So acharyas say that this is present. It's not in the past tense. So they also understand that Krishna is also there in Vrindavan, although he's in Mathura, but he wanders about. Okay, so this is another indication. Now, one thing I forgot. Can you switch back to verse number 111:9, the previous verse? Yes. So here, Kurun Madhun Vata. So what does Madhun here refer to? Can it not refer to Madhuvan or Mathura? Why it refers to Vrindavan? Think about it. These are the Dwarkavasis who are speaking this verse. So why cannot it refer to Mathura? Because the Mathura Vasis, they have shifted to Dwarka. So there is no one in Mathura. So our acharyas, they point out that Madhun, when you say, it is actually referred into Vraj. It cannot be Mathura. Okay. So that's an important observation by the acharyas. Now, now I will read one translation by Srila Vishwanath Thakur to first canto 10th chapter and 26th verse. Okay. Because from Prabhupada's translation, it is not so clear. But Vishwanath Thakur actually translates in a very relatable way. So the translation is as follows: 1:10:26. No need for, yeah, we can get it to translation. Okay. O most praiseworthy is the family of Yadu. Most purifying is Mathura Mandal, which Krishna, the best of men, the Lord of auspiciousness, respects by taking birth there, moving about, and performing pastimes. So, same thing. So, moving about and performing pastimes. So, this is spoken by the Hastinapur devotees. Okay. And what they are saying that they glorify Vraj and they know that Krishna is moving about there. So all these residents, they know that Krishna keeps going back and forth. Okay. So now let's go to verse number 10:46, 9 to 13.
The translation only, Prabhuji.
Yeah, just go to translation. That's it.
Gokul resounded on all sides with the sounds of bulls in rut fighting with one another for fertile cows, with the moving of cows burdened by their udders, chasing after their calves, with the noise of milking and of the white calves jumping here and there, with the loud reverberation of flute playing, and with the singing of all auspicious deeds of Krishna and Balaram by the cowherd men and women who made the village resplendent with their wonderfully ornamented attire. The cowherds' homes in Gokul appeared most charming with their abundant paraphernalia for worship of the sacrificial fire, the sun, unexpected guests, the cows, the brahmanas, the forefathers, and the demigods. On all sides lay the flowering forest echoing with flocks of birds and swarms of bees, and beautified by its lake, crowded with swans, Karandava ducks, and bowers of lotuses.
Okay. So which is this particular chapter? Anyone can recognize? Okay. All right. And what is the current verse related to? The current scenario when Uddhav is about to enter Vrindavan. Now, is Krishna there? Huh? Not there, no? How can the Vrajvasis be so happy? It's impossible. Because it is said that when Krishna is not there, even one moment for them, Vrajvasis, it is like committing suicide. You know, in Krishna book, when Akrura takes away Krishna, so Srila Prabhupada translates. See, each and every word that Prabhupada chooses, it is so important. It signifies so much, actually. It reveals a lot of things. So that's why Prabhupada took a lot of efforts to translate the books. And he took hours. And he did it in the morning time so he could concentrate sufficiently in the morning. So he says that when immediately Krishna was about to leave Vrindavan, and then Radharani and the gopis got to know that. Then Radharani's color changed to black. Now, why black only if Srila Prabhupada chose? Because black is the color of death. And it is only displayed by someone who has that kind of extreme love for Krishna. And that only Radharani has. So Prabhupada knew exactly where and when to use which word. Another, I think it is in the Krishna book itself, where the gopis are saying that, Lord, we are simply your maid servants and slaves. See, Prabhupada is specifically using the word slave. Why? There is a difference between servant, being a servant, and being a slave. And what is the difference? Huh? Slave means If the master will hit you or do anything with you, you'll always be surrendered to the master. Yes. So see, Prabhupada, the expert, he is brilliant in summarizing the essence of the commentaries of the Acharyas. So now here, what happens is Uddhav is visiting Vrindavan, but he's seeing a very happy atmosphere of Vrindavan. And that means that Krishna has to be present. It is impossible that the Vrajvasis can be happy without Krishna. So Vishwanath Thakur says that when Uddhav entered Vrindavan, then the Lord manifested two parts of Vrindavan. And similarly, he also manifested two parts of Vrajvasis. One are the Vrajvasis who are very happy because they are seeing Krishna. And another set of Vrajvasis, they are in separation from Krishna. So Uddhav saw both compartments in Vraj, in Veerabhav, in Sambhog. That means Krishna, before Uddhav entered Vrindavan, Krishna appeared there. And how did he appear? So there is the concept called Prakat and Aprakat. So now I will explain you that concept. Because all the Leelas of the Lord, they are based on this concept only. If you understand this, then it will be very easy to understand everything about the Lord. Okay. So what is Prakat and what is Aprakat? Any devotee can share? Yes, Prabhuji.
This unmanifested is called Aprakat and manifested Lila is called Prakat. So when Krishna performed in Bhauma Vrindavan, that was Prakat Lila. And
Okay.
Aprakat Lila is always happening in the
Spiritual.
Goloka. That is
Goloka.
Goloka, this is Gokula.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's correct to some extent. And further clarification I would like to give is that Prakat means that which a sadhaka can see with his eyes. So when Krishna appears, Prabhupada says, and our Acharya also say, that those devotees who have practiced sadhana in their lifetimes, and if they have come to the state of bhava or prem, then they take birth in a universe where Krishna appears. Right? You have heard this? Before going back to Goloka, they take birth in a place where Krishna appears in this universe. Now, why? Because although you attain the stage of Prema, but you have not attained higher stages of Prema. Prema, Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav, and then Mahabhav has further divisions. Rud Mahabhav, Adi Rud Mahabhav, and then Adi Rud Mahabhav has further divisions. Madanakya Mahabhav, Monakya Mahabhav. So Mahabhav is only exclusive right of Srimati Radharani. Even Krishna does not possess that. That's why Krishna has to experience that. And he comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. So when you take birth in Vraj, basically the entire thing is that you get trained under the Vrajvasis. And that's how Ragmarg is. Ragmarg is all about getting trained, following the footsteps of the Vrajvasis. Right? And Ragmarg does not apply to Mathura and Dwarka because it is covered with Aishwarya. And of course, there is also a section in Goloka where you can worship Radha and Krishna in Aishwarya Bhav. And that is called Aishwarya Golok. So you don't go in Vraj, but you go Aishwarya Golok, which is also separate from Mathura and Dwarka. Okay. When Krishna showed his, when they had taken bath in the Brahma Radha, when he was, Akrura was taking Krishna. So this is basically, Akrur Tirth is the border between Mathura and Vrindavan. Mathura starts after that, like you can say like that. So there they took bath, and then Krishna showed his majestic form. It is described like that. So that place is actually Aishwarya Golok. So Krishna is actually showing his Aishwarya Bhav with Radharani. So those who are attached to that Bhav, they go there. So Vraj, if you want to go, then Ragmarg is the only way. There is no other way. And you have to follow in the footsteps of gopis. So then you take birth in that particular. Okay. So now there are a lot of sadhakas, who are close to perfection. So they can see, and even the asuras, or they all can see Krishna when he appears. So that is called Prakat. Because they are all able to see. In spite of their imperfections, they are able to see Krishna face to face. So that is called Prakat. Now what is Aprakat? As Prabhuji said that it is not visible. But it is not necessarily in Goloka only. It is there in Bhoma Vraj also, or in Dwarka and Mathura also. The same principle applies in Mathura and Dwarka also. So aprakat means only the devotees who are Nitya Siddhas or perfected devotees, they only can see the Lord. Okay. So now what Uddhav is seeing is, as I told you, that he's doing two compartments. One is aprakat and one is prakat. Here you are seeing the aprakat Vraj, where Krishna is present in Sambhog. No, he's not. See, he has already left. Okay, so see, prakat basically also means physically he has to be present. Like you can see with your eyes. So he's not there. So basically, Uddhav, what he's seeing is he's seeing aprakat lila, and that aprakat lila is in both ways. It's in Sambhog and in union also. Vipralamba and union both. Okay, and I will explain to you what exactly happens. So see, this is a very jovial atmosphere in Braj. But after then when he meets Nanda and Yashoda, then what are they expressing? They are crying. They are very distressed. So now Krishna shows him the Vipralamba aspect of Braj. So that way he's covering and uncovering, you know. And then when he leaves, of course, when he goes to the gopis, he tries to console them. Radharani, that Brahmaragit chapter is there, where Radharani is talking to the bumblebee. So they are all in intense separation from Krishna. So this is all Krishna in separation. But Krishna is also there. Now when he leaves and he goes back to Mathura, then again he sees a jovial atmosphere of Vrindavan. So this is Krishna's mystical, arrangement in all these places. Okay, so now let's try to understand how Krishna returned to Vrindavan. So Srila Rup Goswami, he has given in Laghu Bhagavatamrit. He says that after Krishna finished his schooling in Sandipani Muni's ashram, that is for 64 days, right? And then he went to Mathura. So basically what happened in this 3-month period, now the question is that, okay, if Krishna is eternally present in Vrindavan, then how can the Vrajvasis feel separation from Krishna? Because as I told you, that the Vrajvasis are Nitya Siddha. Sadhakas cannot see. But the Nitya Siddhas, they are always in touch with Krishna. They can always see Krishna. So how can they feel separation? So our Acharya say that for 3 months, Rup Goswami says that in order to make them experience Vipralamba for a short time, Krishna becomes, he disappears from their vision. Even in Aprakat Leela. So in Aprakat Leela, generally you are with the Lord. The Vrajvasis, Nitya Siddhas can see. But the Nitya Siddhas, they also cannot now see the Lord. So that they can experience 3 months of separation. But then it is also said that Krishna is eternally there in Vrindavan. So how do you justify that? How to reconcile? So then Rup Goswami says that although he's physically, he's not able, like the Vrajvasis cannot see them, but they have his Purti. And that is called as special appearance of the Lord. So what is Purti? It means that they can experience Krishna, but they think it's a dream and they forget about it. So that way Krishna is there and Krishna is not there also. So that way it is like, their separation is there, but at the same time, Sambhog is also there in the form of Spurti of the Lord. So this is in 3 months time. Then Rup Goswami says that after 3 months, when Uddhav visits Vrindavan, before that Krishna appears in Vraj in his aprakat form. So what does that mean? Now Krishna is always present in his aprakat form, which means that the Nitya Siddhas, the Vrajvasis can see Krishna and they can have Sambhog with him. They can see actually Krishna physically. Of course, the sadhakas cannot see Krishna. For them, Krishna is there in Mathura and Dwarka. Okay. So I hope it is clear. So after 3 months, Krishna, because in the earlier 3 months he had disappeared from aprakat vision, but now he appears and he remains there eternally. He is, you can see Krishna eternally there. The Vrajvasis, Nitya Siddhas can see them, Krishna eternally, right? Okay. So now we understood that in Aprakat Leela, Krishna appears and he's staying with the Vrajvasis. Okay. So the question is, and again, as I said, that Uddhav is seeing two departments of Vraj. One Viprarambha and one is, so everything is possible by Yogmaya's arrangement. Krishna wants to make them experience separation. That is also possible. And for timing, he will show that to Uddhav. Okay. But now he is eternally in a Prakat form. All right. Now, after 3 months, is in Aprakat. Now, when does he return to Vrindavan in physical form? So, our Acharya they quotes Padma Puran. And in the Padma Puran, it is very clearly mentioned that after killing Dantavakra, now the reason why, okay, where Dantavakra was killed, do you know? Where he was killed, which place? Krishna is in Dwarka. He is killing all the demons, different places, right? But where Dantavakra was killed, the Lord specifically chose to kill him near Mathura. Have you heard about a place called, I think it's Daita, something like that, I don't remember, but there is, when you go to Mathura, you'll, the Brajvasis talk about a place which is named after killing of Dantavakra. So it is close by. It is within the vicinity of Mathura, you can say like that. So now why did Krishna choose that place? For a specific reason, that it is very close to Mathura. So he has a best chance to see, because when, as long as he is in Dwarka, the Dwarkavasis, they will not allow Krishna to go back. You know that from Jagannath pastime also, that they will always try to, uh, you know, keep Krishna with them, because they know that if Krishna will go, then he will never return to Dwarka. So now Krishna has got wonderful opportunity. So from there, he goes to Vraj. So physically in Prakat Leela. So sadhakas can also see that Krishna has gone to Vraj. Right? So this is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrit. Special appearance, sudden appearance, and physical appearance of the Lord in Vrindavan. Now, our acharyas, they also say that, different shastra they quote, and they say that Krishna not just visited once, but he visited multiple times. Jai Shri Shri Radha Neela Madhav Bhagwan ki Jai. So they say that Krishna once visited with Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. That pastime you are aware, right? One of the appearances of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, which is described by Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj. Alternative story, how Jagannath appeared. So actually that forms, Mahabhav forms, they appeared in Vrindavan. They did not appear in Dwarka. They went to Vrindavan and then all of them got ecstatic. And then entire form appeared, because Krishna first saw Radharani that she is in such a diseases condition. So then looking at her, and then the air that was passing by touched Radharani's body, and then it touched Krishna's body. So by that experience, Krishna went into Mahabhav and the form that you can see of Jagannath. So he went with Balram and Subhadra. And then another time Krishna went with Satyabhama. So Satyabhama is expansion of Radharani. Rukmini is expansion of Chandravali. Right? So Radharani, Satyabhama went because Krishna described to her the pastime of the pearls with Radharani that he had experienced in Vraj. So he was once describing to Satyabhama about the pearl pastime. And Satyabhama got very inspired to visit Vraj. So Krishna took her once. And the third time also there is description where Krishna takes his queens, all his Dwarka queens, to Kamyavan. So have you been to Kamya once? Any one of you? So there this pastime is narrated, that Krishna went with his queens in Kamyavan. Okay. Now, see, Garg Samhita, 5th canto and 19th chapter is entirely dedicated to Krishna's returning back to Vrindavan. And there is all pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Okay? So, so now it is clear that Krishna did go to Vrindavan. See, it is impossible that Krishna cannot go to Vrindavan. Because Krishna not only promised on his own, but he made this promise through Uddhav and Balram also. And so of course, see, for Vrajvasi, Krishna can destroy the entire world. Vrajvasis are so dear to Krishna. It is mentioned by Srila Rup Goswami in Bhakti Samrit Sindhu that when Indra tried to destroy Vraj, Krishna was so angry, he wanted to destroy entire Swarg in a second. But then Rup Goswami, he is describing the wonderful qualities of Krishna. So then he says that Krishna has this one wonderful quality, which is karuna, compassion. And he describes that when Krishna sees that someone is inferior to him, immediately his karuna will arise. And especially when Indra is a demigod. So Krishna thought that why should I waste time fighting with Indra or killing him? It's not worth my time. So let me show some affection to him. And that's why Krishna just left him like that. He did not do anything because he was overwhelmed by karuna. So this is what Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Samrit Sindhu is described. So Krishna is, for one Vrajvasi, he can destroy the entire universe. What to speak of Indra destroying so many Vrajvasis, right? That is the Prema of Krishna. Not just about Vrajvasi, but even the Dwarkavasis, they are so dear to Krishna. It is impossible that any sadhu or any demigod or anyone else can even speak something ill to the Dwarkavasis, the Yadus. What to speak of destroying the entire Yadu Vamsh by a curse? It is impossible. So these are all Leelas of the Lord. And of course, that's another chapter altogether, another topic altogether. Krishna's disappearance and the Yadu's disappearance. The Acharyas, they have given brilliant commentary, very elaborate. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Jeev Goswami, Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Thakur. Such elaborate commentary because it is described in the Bhagavatam that Krishna's funeral ceremony happened, Krishna and Balram's. So how do you understand all these things? Because we say that Krishna has a Satchidananda Vigraha body, but then his body is burned and he leaves the body. That needs to be understood very thoroughly. So of course we don't have time for that, but we'll go ahead. Okay, so now the question is that why does Krishna leave Vrindavan? Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata. That's external. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. What is internal reason? So, see, Krishna, when he comes, he has two purposes. Internal, external, both. Internal purpose is that he just wants to enjoy with the Vrajvasi and he just wants to experience loving devotional service with the sadhakas. He wants to give them chance to come to him. So, Krishna, when he appears, the only reason is to distribute Vraj Ras. Of course, he could not do that sufficiently. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to come. But then, internal reason, what happened one time? So this is described by Srila Vishwanath Thakur. So see, the internal reason that Krishna left Vrindavan, actually there is also the commentary by the Acharyas. And they say, if I remember, a long time I had read, they say that if Krishna would have not gone to Mathura and Dwarka, that would have been completely justified. Because for Krishna, the Vrajvasi's prem is so high that if you combine the prem of all the residents of the universe, that is not going to equal to the prem of the Vrajvasis. So the pain which is experienced by Vrajvasi, it is so high that Krishna actually, he is saying that he is going out to establish dharma, but he will commit the most adharmic thing if he leaves the Vrajvasis. And of course, that's why we have this Prakat, Krishna, Yadu, Kumar Krishna is going. Original Krishna is in Vrindavan, like that. So many things he has to do. It is also described by our Acharya Srila Vishwanath Thakur. He says that Radharani's prem is so intense, when she feels separation from Krishna, she will burn like anything. And he says that If the entire universe is burned with all the living entities, infinite living entities combined, still that is not equal to one ray of Radharani's burning of separation from Krishna. That intensity she feels, which is, of course, not so easy to understand. You cannot fathom that. But this is the nature of the Brajvasis. So now, why did Krishna leave Vrindavan? So it has a purpose. So you must have heard about the pastime of Prem Sarovar, right? When Radharani and Krishna were together. And in spite of being so close, so intimately having pastimes, Leela, and of course Madhumangal was also present nearby. So you know that there was one Madhu, honeybee, which was disturbing Radharani. And it was continuously making now noise, sound and all. So Radharani was irritated by that. So she asked Krishna that, I would like this bee to go away from here. So Krishna asked Madhumangal if you can drive away this bee. So Madhumangal did that, and then he returned and he started saying that Madhu has gone. Oh, I have driven away Madhu. Madhu has gone now. Madhu has gone now. Just by hearing that, although Krishna is sitting next to Radharani, Radharani got into ecstatic Mahabhav in the mood of separation. This is called Prema Vaichitya Bhav, where the lover is present, but because of external symptoms, you will go into separation. So now, when Krishna saw that, when he understood the state of Radharani, that she experiences so much pain in his union, Sambhog, he said it is better that I actually go away from Radharani. Because Rup Goswami says in Padyavali, he says that when Radharani is separated from Krishna, when Brajvasis are separated from Krishna, then they are able to see Krishna everywhere, in all places, because of their intensity of love. So then Krishna thought, if my being present is giving so much pain to Radharani, then it is better that I leave. And, even if they are in separation, still they will not feel absence of me. And that will give them some relief. So better let me leave. So this is the reason he leaves. This is Vishwanath Thakur explains. Okay. So this is the internal reason. Of course, external reason to you all know about. All right. So not only Krishna, but even the Vrajvasis, they do not take one step out of Vrindavan. That we have all covered yesterday. I explained that there are three forms of Radharani, right? So that I explained already. And Yamal Tantra, it describes that the Krishna that goes to Mathura and Dwarka, he is the Yadu Kumar. He is not Sham Sundar Ranjan Krishna. Okay. Yeah. So this secret has been, this thing has been kept a secret by Srila Sukdev Goswami. And Rupa Goswami in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita says that this has to be understood. What has to be understood? That Lord did not want Sukdev Goswami to reveal Krishna's multiple birth. So Krishna actually took birth from Yashoda also, simultaneously. Now, how do you understand that? How many of you know that Krishna appeared through Yashoda also? You all know. But what is the Praman? Okay. Can we quote some Shastra? Because Gopal Champu is by Jiva Goswami, who is a Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya. So what Praman you have from the scripture? Okay. So that's something which is not known to us. If you don't understand, like for example, we are not aware that Krishna went to Vrindavan. This is there in the Bhagavatam. We don't realize that. So, Jayati Janani Vaso, that verse is also there, of course. But then there is more relatable verse to the context when Krishna appears. So that time. So our acharyas, they quote Harivamsh Puran. Okay, which is a supplement to the Mahabharata. In that Harivansh Puran, it is mentioned that Yashoda and Devki gave birth simultaneously. Now you can say that, well, that birth from Yashoda can be Yogamaya also. Because actually Yogamaya took birth from Yashoda, right? This is how Vasudeva went and he exchanged Krishna with Yogamaya. And then he came back. But then, was the birth simultaneous? No. It is now they quote the Bhagavad Praman. So in the Bhagavad, it is mentioned that Krishna was when he was about to, so when Vasudeva carried Krishna from the prison and he was just about to leave the prison. After that, Yogamaya took birth at that point of time. So it is said that Krishna took birth in Ashtami and Yogamaya took birth in Navami. So there was some time difference. So then who took birth? So then it is obvious that actually Krishna took birth. And then there are other references in the Bhagavatam that says that eternally Krishna is the son of Yashoda, Gopika Sutta, Nanda Atmaja. So these are two verses that Bhagavatam Acharyas quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna simultaneously took birth from Yashoda and Devaki. And of course, then they also say that actually Devaki is another name of Yashoda. So also they say like that. Yeah, so Sukdev Goswami did not reveal this secret because when the Lord wanted to perform the pastime, he wanted to make sure that Kans will not disturb the Vrajvasis also. Of course, Mathura has taken birth. So Kans is aware now. But he should not disturb the Vrajvasis also. So that's why he didn't want it to be revealed at that point of time. And he also wanted Sukdev Goswami to keep it as a secret. This is given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Okay. Now, a very interesting thing is that what happened to the Vrajvasis? Because we know about Krishna's disappearance and the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty. But then what about the Vrajvasis? So a very detailed account the Padma Puran gives. And it says that when Krishna entered Vrindavan after killing Dandavakra in his physical form, so he stayed there for 2 months. And during this period, Krishna married all the gopis also. Of course, now there is Swakiya Ras and there is Parikiya. So when Krishna marries the gopis, these are all the expansions of gopis who get married to Krishna. The Parikiya gopis, they are in Vrindavan. So where do they get married? They get married in Gokul. Okay. So in Gokul, the Swakiya Ras is prominent. And in Vraj, Vrindavan, especially Vrindavan, it is Parikiya Ras. So Krishna, what he did, he went, and this is also the account in Gopal Champu. If you remember, if you have read Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami says that Krishna returns to Vrindavan after killing Dandavakra. And then he describes about the marriage of all the gopis. And he says that he actually reconciles. And Jiva Goswami basically establishes that ultimate everything is culminating in Swakiya Ras. Although Vishwanath Thakur 180 degree, he disagrees with Srila Jiva Goswami. He says eternally Parikiya is present in Vraj. Okay. So then what how does he establish that? He says that Yogamaya had replicated bodies of the gopis. So those gopis, they were all called. There was an assembly of Vrajvasis. Purnamasi was there. So the detail is given. And then all these the Yogamaya gopis, they were called. And they all merged in the original gopi forms. And that's how later on it was revealed that actually these gopis did not get married to anyone else. So that's how they got married to Krishna. Because there was a question of adharma. That the gopis are already married to other people. How can they again get married to Krishna? So then Yogamaya reveals all these things at the end. That's the conclusion of Gopal Champu. If you remember. Right? So anyways, Krishna comes, he gets married to the gopis, and then he dispatches all these gopis and the Aishwarya, Vrajvasis or Swakiya, they all go back to Godhead, Goloka. So 3 forms Krishna manifests. One is going back to Godhead. Second form, in the aprakat form, in the Parikiya Ras, Krishna always stays in Vrindavan. And in the third form, Krishna goes back to Dwarka. So this is a praman from the Padma Puran, and Rupa Goswami says that because the Bhagavatam does not mention about it, so our Vaishnava should take it as a main praman. This is what happened. And now the question is that why Sukdev Goswami did not mention about the going back to Godhead of the Vrajvasis or the expansion of the Vrajvasis. Because Sukdev Goswami was narrating it to Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj was very intimately connected to Krishna because of the Pandavas. And especially the Yadus. So he had a lot of affection for the Yadus. So then our Acharyas explained that if Sukdev Goswami had narrated the very nice pastime of Krishna going away happily to going back to Godhead, he would have felt some kind of dissatisfaction in his heart. Why? Because because he heard about Krishna's Mosa Leela. And Mosa Leela is it is extremely, it's a ghastly act. It's a horrible act. Because the Yadu, they fought among themselves. They killed each other. Who would want such kind of pastime to happen in his own family or a relative's family? To hear that is very painful to the heart. So that's why Sukdev Goswami did not reveal this pastime of Krishna going to Vrindavan and then going back to Godhead and then taking different forms like that. So this is what Srila Rupa Goswami explains. So Srila Rupa Goswami, Jeev Goswami, Vishwanath Thakur, they all established that Krishna returns to Vrindavan. All right. So with this, we end the class. And if there are any questions or comments, we can take it. Hare Krishna. Yes, Rupa Goswami, Laghu Bhavananda, Gopal Champu, Jeev Goswami, and Vishwanath Thakur also, throughout his works, he has given all these things. Especially in the Bhagavatam commentaries, he has mentioned about these things. Yes. Gopal Champu. Yeah, of course, Bhagavatam is the main praman. Actually, Bhagavatam is talking about these things, but in a secret way, in a hidden way. And our acharyas, they reveal all these things to us. That's why I told you. And Prabhupada was 100% right. That what do you know about Vrindavan? What will you go after going to Vrindavan? You don't know anything. That's why reading the books of the acharyas means going to Vrindavan. So Vrindavan, now what is the meaning of Vraj? What does Vraj mean? Huh? To move. Another meaning is all pervading. Pervades infinitely. So actually, Vraj, Vraj is not limited to Mathura, Dwarka and Vrindavan in our physical appearance. Vraj is unlimited. All the universe, in one sense, everything is Vraj. Right now we are here, it is Vraj. Only difference is how you perceive it. Right? So let me explain one analogy. Srila Prabhupada says that in one corner of Seva Kunj, unlimited universes are there. Right? Prabhupada says, right? You know that? Prabhupada says like that. And of course, Acharyas also say the same thing. That in one corner of Seva Kunj, just in Seva Kunj, we have unlimited universes which are residing. So what does that mean? Everything is Vraj. Correct? And now, Prabhupada said, wherever a devotee lives, in association of devotees, wherever Hare Krishna Mahamantra is chanted, wherever there is temple, that is Vrindavan. So, when you come to the state of Bhava and Prem, then you will see Vraj everywhere. Why? Simple. When you attain perfection, the chanting of the holy name reveals everything to you. And when you say Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it does not reveal Radha and Krishna only. It has to reveal the Lord's Dham, associates everything, because Krishna does not take one step out of Vrindavan. So when Radha and Krishna are revealed to you, Radhe Sham, then the Dham is also going to be revealed. The Vrajvasis also will be revealed to you. Everything you will see at one place. It's a matter of conception. Sanatan Goswami says in Brihad Bhagavatamrit that Dwarka actually is in Vraj. How do you understand that? So let's take the example of Goloka. We have three sections. We have Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. Well, in spiritual world, there is no space and time constraint. So you can also say that Dwarka is a manifestation of Vrindavan. It's an expansion and extension of Vrindavan. Why? Because it's a mental conception. You just think that Krishna has gone to some place. That place is called Dwarka. That's it. Because it's not geometrically connected. Oh, it's east and west coast. It's not like that. Here you will see like that difference between, because of physical distance. But there is no space in spiritual world. Of course, in the Leela, you see the space also. But it's an expansion of Vraj. Why? Because Krishna wants to make the Vrajvasi experience Vipralam Bhav. So when they want to experience that Bhav, they think that Krishna is in Dwarka. So in Vraj, Dwarka is also manifested in one sense. It's an extension of that because it is assisting Vraj, their flavor of Veera Bhav with the Lord. Right? And as I said, that everything is Vraj. So Dwarka can also be a part of Vraj. If Vraj is widespread, then it is like that. So of course, Achintya Bhedabhed Tattva is also there, but the Acharyas, they explain like that. That Dwarka, Sanatan Goswami clearly states, Dwarka is extension of Vraj. And Gaur Govind Maharaj also, if you read his books, in the embankment of separation, he has described all these things. Okay? So, yes, Prabhuji. So see, it is given in a analogical form. Like at least we can understand that spiritual world is so huge. Now you cannot really say something which is infinite. You cannot really say that it is 3/4 or 1/4 like that. So the material universe for us is infinite, and spiritual world is also infinite. But some proportion is described to just make us understand that major portion is actually in the spiritual world. Because again, there is no concept of time and space. So that's how we understand. It's just like an analogy which says that major portion of the spiritual world is of the space is the spiritual world, like that. Right? Okay. Any other question or comments? Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's also another thing that our acharyas have commented on that. So see, one thing is that, of course, Krishna's dham is eternal in the material world also. Okay. So when they are saying that Krishna descends to the material world, it is not exactly like that because again, the concept of Nitya Leela is also there in the material world. Right? Because what does Prabhupada and Acharya say? That when Krishna finishes one Leela in one universe, the same Leela he repeats in the next universe. And that is eternally going on. Vishwanath Thakur says in his commentary to Ujjwal Nilamani, he says that even after the total annihilation, now one may say that, so when everything merges back into Mahavishnu, then nothing is there. But we know that material energy is also, Prakriti is also eternal. It is just being created and destroyed at some point. But that cycle is eternal. So Vishwanath Thakur says that for the jiva, for the ordinary living entities, the Lord does not manifest his pastimes. But it is eternally going on even after everything is annihilated. in the material world. So the Lord creates illusory universes and he keeps continuing his pastimes during that period. The Lord creates illusory universes. Yeah, so these are the jivas who are from the like Krishna continues his pastime one universe to another universe. So these are the jivas who are almost close to perfection. So, but this is illusory, which means that it is kind of aprakat in one sense, in the material realm. Okay. So that way, the Lord's pastimes goes on eternally. It is never obstructed. That is the point, even in the material world. So one cannot say that, oh, everything is destroyed. Then the Lord pastime has to also be, it has to come to an end. So that way, Vishwanath Chakra will say that it keeps continuing in the material world. Yeah, so now coming to your question. So what is the difference between Goloka and Bhoma Vrindavan? So one thing that you have seen is that Krishna's age, it proceeds with time, right? So from Kumar, Pogand and Kaishor. That is their difference, major difference. Second major difference is the demons are killed in the material world. Okay. And the third difference is that Krishna gives kripa to the sadhakas, which is not there in the spiritual world. Now, interestingly, Sanatan Goswami kind of contradicts these early 2 points, the first 2 points. Uh, Especially the second point, Sanatan Goswami talks about that in detail. And the first point is contradicted in the sense that Acharyas say, Jeev Goswami, Rup Goswami, Vishwanath, they say that whenever Yashoda Maya feels that she wants, because Rup Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu very clearly states, the most favorable age for Vatsalya Bhav is which age? Kumar. Most favorable age for Sakhya Bhav is which age? Pogand. And Madhurya Leela is for Kaishor. So Rup Goswami states this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu very clearly. So he says that sometimes Mother Yashoda feels like seeing Krishna in his Kumar form. So then Krishna manifests his Kumar form in the spiritual world also. And he will also manifest Pagan form sometimes by his Yogamaya potency. And of course, in that sense, it is manifested, but they forget about it. So it seems that it was not manifested at all. And that's how Keshor age becomes eternal. Like that, okay? So the age difference is there. And second point about the demons. So Srila Sanatan Goswami in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he has described quite in detail about demons appearing in Goloka. Yes. Hmm. Yeah, so it's a manifestation of the Yogamaya potency of the Lord. And these form are also eternal. Kumar and Pogand of the Lord, it is not temporary form, it is eternal. It is just that it is like, for example, when you switch on the fan, you switch on the switch, then the fan starts moving. You switch off, fan will stop. So these ages are there eternally, but Krishna will not manifest it in the spiritual world because the most favorable age is Keshor age. And Madhurya Ras is the most prominent Ras. You see, every other Ras is assisting Madhurya Ras in Goloka or in Krishna's pastimes. Everything is supporting Madhurya Ras. Why do we have Vatsalya Bhav? So see, there are followers of Swakya Bhav. They say that Radha and Krishna are always united. And they only worship that Leela. 24 hours, they are united. Now, what is the drawback in this belief or in this Siddhant? What is the major drawback? Just imagine that if you are with your friends or your lover the entire time, then what happens? No, no, no. Not like that. Familiarity breeds contempt. You take it for granted. No, but in the see, that's why we have separation. The entire concept of Vipralamba Bhav and Sambhog. Your Sambhog is relished to a great extent when you experience Vipralamba. So the sentiments are the same. what we do in the material world, it's all perverted reflection of the spiritual world. That's why we have Vipralamba Bhav. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, he explains that you cannot enjoy Sambhog to the fullest extent unless you experience separation from Krishna. Otherwise, what will be the difference between Parakya and Swakiya? Right? If it will be the same thing. If Swakiya, even after getting married to Krishna, they are having the same intensity and the intensity keeps increasing, then what will be the difference between Parakya and Swakiya? There are no challenges in Swakiya. In Parakya, there are a lot of challenges, obstacles to Krishna's love, to attain him. Shishi Radha Neelamadhav Bhagwan ki. Yes. Yes. So there is, in Gokul, there are the Swakiya pastimes, and in Vrindavan, we have the Parakya pastimes. This is what Shivram Maharaj also explains in his book, Krishna in Vrindavan series. So, because Jiva Goswami establishes that Swakiya is the ultimate culmination. Everything culminates in Swakiya. And Vishwanath Chakur says, no, Parakya is eternal. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, they are all, Rup Goswami, they are all in favor of Parakya Ras. Like that. Right? So, anyways, yeah, the point was that, I was asking you that why do we have, if someone stays with you forever, then the relation will become very stale. You will not be able to, because we take it for granted. So then, that's why we have this Vatsala Bhav, we have this Dasya Bhav, the Sakhya Bhav, so that Krishna is separated from the gopis. So basically the point is, every rasa is supporting Madhurya Ras. Yeah. And Krishna's abode is Madhurya, is Vrindavan abode. So all the rasas, they are supporting the Madhurya Ras. Because Madhurya Ras is the topmost and Radharani is the topmost. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Rasik Acharyas, they say like this. They see it like this. That every ras is actually ultimately supporting Madhurya Ras. Like that. It will reduce the intensity of love. That's why the Swakiya gopis, they are expansions of the original gopis. Because the intensity of love is not that high when you are married to Krishna. And there is also, of course, you think that he's my husband, he's my Swami. Of course, they are satisfied. Every devotee in every ras is satisfied. But then we know then there are gradations of intensity of love, like that. So it is restricted. It does not blossom to the fullest, like that. Okay. So yeah, coming to your point, because it was connected to the demons. So Sanatana Goswami explains Laghu Bhagavatamrita that sometimes demons, Krishna will call and the demons will appear there in Goloka. For example, very, very interesting that Krishna kills Kans in spiritual world every day. Now you think, once a person is killed, how can he be killed multiple times? Krishna does it every day. So that whenever he wants some flavor, then he will separate from the Vrajvasis. He'll go from Vrindavan, he'll go to Mathura. He'll kill Kans, but he will return the same or the next day, like that. Okay. So now question is that Krishna, why does he do that? Because he wants to make them experience Vipralamba Bhava. But then what is the, how do we understand that Krishna is killing Kans again and again? So one thing is there, what is the difference in the demons in the spiritual world and demons in the material world? The difference is that in the material world, the demon is a real demon. Asur, a jiva who is actually opposed to Krishna. Whereas in the spiritual world, it's arrangement of Yog Maya. So what happens is Krishna will go to Mathura, kill Kans, come back. Next day again he will go. But the Vrajvasis, they will all forget that Krishna had gone to Mathura and killed Kans. So for them, it's a ever new experience. When you don't remember something, as I was explaining last night, then it's a ever new experience for you. So this, depending on Krishna's will, how many days he wants, he will do that. And similarly, then he will also manifest Kesi demon. Because sometimes the Lord wants to enjoy a horse ride. So instead of killing Kesi, what he does, he will tame Kesi, he will climb on Kesi, and then he will start riding on the horse. And then he'll start enjoying with his sakhas. He'll start going everywhere. And then similarly, he will call Kalia also in the spiritual world. And Kalia will also, that the Lord will, he will curb Kalia. Now the purpose of calling Kalia is to have Ras Lila. So the pastime unfolds like this, that when Krishna is taming Kalia, is trying to curb Kalia's pride. So that time, all the Vrajvasis, they come near Yamuna. And especially the gopis. Now this time only the gopis are there. So Krishna's Yogmaya potency arranges all these things. So then when Kalia is already surrendered, then Krishna will dance and then he will make the gopis, by Yogmaya potency, he will make them float in the sky and then they will all land on Kalia's hood. And then on Kalia's hood, all the gopis will do Ras Lila. So this is described by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It is all Yogmaya potency. So Asuras is also there, but they are not demons like. So both things. Prabhupada says there are no demons in spiritual world. Sanatana Goswami says there are demons. So we can reconcile like that. Huh? Yeah. Kamsa is killed. That's also, you can say, a kind of advertisement. You can, like sometimes you say certain things just like that, just to make them feel like that. But actually, it does not happen. Because there is no killing in the spiritual world. And of course, it is Yogmaya Shakti, so you cannot kill literally. So it's just a conception. It's a conception, that's it. You can say that it's kind of a dream. It does not happen actually like that. But Vrajvasis feel that, oh, Krishna has really gone there. Like that.
Even when Dham is here, middle
Yes,
world,
yes.
like physically everything goes back to Mahavishnu, but you said imaginary
Illusory universes are created.
Universes are created. So there means Dhams are there. Really, it is there.
Yeah. Only the thing is that we cannot see it, but that's it. The jivas who are merged, of course, we are merged in Mahavishnu. So there's no question of, because we don't have a body. So there's no question of seeing all these things. But the Lord will keep performing his pastimes like that.
It's mentioned that Jagannath Puri is always eternal. Means Markandeya Muni, he saw Jagannath Puri is there, even when Pralaya is happening.
Yeah.
So that is not, I think, the last Pralaya. It's the
It is not last. It is not last. This is after all the universes are merging in Mahavishnu like that.
That time also Dham is there.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Everything is destroyed completely. Complete annihilation. So of course there is partial annihilation. There is complete annihilation. Different types of annihilation are there. When a jiva leaves a body, that is also annihilation in one sense. Yes. Yeah.
Like it's question about like how we make time for reading shastras, and any system is there where to start. Because like I think you have read so many books. Like when you read along with your business and all, how you manage.
Yeah. See, I always, like for me, reading was like a breathing for me, like chanting 16 rounds. Right from the beginning, I was always inclined to learn about spiritual, like to gather spiritual knowledge and all that. So the first day of Krishna consciousness, I started reading Prabhupada's small books. I finished most of them. Then as the sequence is suggested, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, multiple times I have read all these books. And then I started reading the books of the Acharyas also. Because Prabhupada also very strongly recommends to read. See, the thing is that if you are really inclined, you must make it a priority. And sometimes the problem is that sometimes we do a lot of physical service. But then we have to also think whether it is required or not. If it is very important, it is required from you, Okay, yeah, then you have to do it. But then, are you doing it just to, just for your sake? No. So this is a greatest service. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, in his one of his podcasts that I heard, he said that in ISKCON, reading Prabhupada's books is the greatest service, and it is the first and foremost service. And of course, some may have some different opinion also. But if you really want to get enthused in Krishna consciousness, then the fire is coming from the books. That's why Prabhupada said, books are the basis. He did not say purity is the base. He said books are the basis. Purity is the force. Of course, when you have the base, then only the force can act. So, like, you must make priority if you are inclined to read. Now, for those who are not inclined that much, then they should hear the conclusion of the scriptures from devotees. And while reading, you will not be able to understand many things, whether it is Prabhupada books, whether it is the books of the Acharyas. Now, devotees may think and say that Prabhupada books are simple to understand, easily written language. All true. But you will not be able to understand many things in Prabhupada books also, for sure. And similarly with Acharya books also. It also depends on the how you translate, and of course, Prabhupada book in that way they are much simple to understand. But the translations that are given by other devotees of Acharyas in ISKCON, it's not so easy to understand. The translation itself, the content itself. But then in the content, even if you try to understand it, you will still have a lot of questions, a lot of doubts. But how do you relate and how do you identify? Like, for example, I asked you that do you know that Krishna actually went to Vrindavan? It's there in Prabhupada translates like Mathura Vrindavan. So, did you realize that? No. When you hear it from devotees, then everything is crystal clear. It remains in your mind forever. Now you know Krishna has returned to Vrindavan, and if someone will ask me, I can give some praman also. But when you repeatedly read Prabhupada's books one time, two times, you could not realize that. Prabhupada also says that, but you could not realize, you could not remember that. But when I presented it to you in a topic form, and when I quoted the Acharyas, then it got stuck in your head. So this is why Prabhupada also is asking us to read the Acharya books. Why Prabhupada said, if you want to understand, if you want to experience Vrindavan, read books of going to Vrindavan means reading the books of the Acharyas. He also named it. It's not that he just said like that. So of course, Prabhupada will not say that going to Vrindavan means reading my books. You know, as a Acharya, to express humility, he will give credit to the Acharyas. But Prabhupada would have said, read CC, read this, that. The thing is that everything is dispersed in Prabhupada books. You have to collect it, you have to gather it in order to get a holistic understanding of the entire topic. So many things are dispersed. It's not there. See, all these points, they are not in Prabhupada's one purport. They are spread in different purports. So you need to be cautious of that. And that will not even happen for Acharya books. This is what I'm trying to say. For understanding Shastra, the only way is Mahajano Yena Gata Panta, which means that you have to learn from devotees. Your Swadhyaya is there, but then you'll have a lot of questions and doubts. That has to be clarified. Yes. So see, if you have limited time, you cannot read beyond Prabhupada books. Then hear the conclusion from devotees. You need to hear that. See, why I am able to explain all these things? Because I've read the books of Acharya along with the books of Prabhupada. Now I read Prabhupada books, I relish them more because I can identify Prabhupada actually spoke about it. It's just that we missed it. We didn't realize that. Krishna, Prabhupada in the Krishna book says, do you remember Prabhupada in the Krishna book says that Krishna returned in Vrindavan. What does Prabhupada say? Krishna returned in Vrindavan in his bhav expansion. Prabhupada said that. But do you feel that Krishna returned to Vrindavan? You never felt like that. Prabhupada is summarizing the entire thing. He's saying that Krishna was present in his bhav expansion. So, such a beautiful statement. But when you understand these things. When you read Prabhupada, now you understand. So if you want to relish and understand Prabhupada books and the words that he has used deeply, then also it will be helpful. So that way, of course, Prabhupada gives the conclusion of all the commentaries of all the acharyas. But it is spread. It is not in one place. That's what I'm trying to say. Right?
Some concepts which Prabhupada is mentioning, they are little contradictory to what previous acharyas say. So it appears like that. So to reconcile and all, it becomes very tough. Like for example, about the living entity going to Brahm Jyoti and then falling down. So other acharyas don't agree. They say it's eternal. Brahm Jyoti is eternal. How can you fall? But Prabhupada, so many times he has told Brahm Jyoti they fall. And
Okay.
then living entity, Jiva fall also. Eternally he stays in spiritual
Yes,
world.
yes.
So these all concepts.
So this discussion, when I had given class in Belgaum, after the Bhagavatam class, one devotee is there, and we had some detailed discussions about it, almost 1.5 to 2 hours, because there are so many counterpoints also. So see, regarding the Jiva merging in Brahman, and then that being eternal. So our acharyas say that by quoting Vedanta Sutra. It's all from there, Upanishad. Baldev Vidyabhushan and Jeev Goswami also, I think, he says. Okay. Prabhupada says that even after merging, they fall down. So Prabhupada, it seems that he's contradicting the acharyas. It's not like that. Prabhupada has his view, and that is also true. And for some time, even I had this doubt that why other acharyas are saying and Prabhupada is saying repeatedly, not just one time or two times. Prabhupada says repeatedly so many times in his purports, in his letters, that if someone attains Brahman, they merge in Brahman, they will fall down because there is no activity. And I used to think that if ultimately the Jiva is to merge in Brahman, then why Krishna created the Jiva in itself in the first place? Because Raso Vaisa, Krishna wants to experience Ras with the Jiva. If Ras is not there, then what is the, why? It's like a Jad Tattva for Krishna. Does not matter, insignificant, like it's a material object like that. So I had this question that how is it possible? Then Brihad Bhagavatam, when I was reading for the second time, I came across Gopi Parandan's Prabhu Purport. And I can share that with you. In that, he quotes two Puranas, Narsimha Puran and I think Kurma Puran or Matsya Puran. I don't remember the second one. And in the Puran, the example is given that there are some jivas who merged in Brahman, but they had fallen down. And then after that, they worship Lord Narsimha. And he quotes another Puran saying the same thing. That they had already merged in Brahman, but they had later fallen down. So I felt very happy that Prabhupada is perfect. Like, yesterday I was sharing about Radhanath Maharaj's experience. He also felt that Prabhupada maybe he has probably swapped from the Sita's appearance and Radharani's, but it is given in Padma Puran. So the thing is, when Prabhupada says something, you should not think that he is saying something different from the Acharya. It is another perspective. Okay, and maybe with time, you will also get the Pramani Shastra. That's one thing. Second thing is about the Jiva fall down. The thing is that, okay, Prabhupada said that we were in Krishna Lok. And he says that so many times. Whereas you will see only very few references where Prabhupada says that I only know one reference. I remember only one reference, which is that not a leaf can fall from Vaikuntha. Right? So we are not in Krishna Lok. Any other reference you have? Like, have you come across where Prabhupada says that we can never fall from spiritual world? I don't remember. I don't recollect. So there are hundreds of statements Prabhupada saying that we were with Krishna Lok. You feel that all the acharyas saying that we are never in the spiritual. Prabhupada is coming up with some other, and then it is also mentioned that the core of the Vishnu also say that We were never in the spiritual. Anadi Krishna Bhai. But okay. But how do you understand that? See, there are no answers to this understanding that we had come from Brahman. Then you blame responsibility on Krishna. Then you'll blame responsibility on Krishna. Why? I am what state I am created. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Samrit Sindhu, they say that the Nitya Siddhas are the ones who have the Lord's Samvit and Ladini Shakti. Whereas the Nitya Baddhas, they don't have this Shakti. So those who are in those jivas in the spiritual world, they eternally have this Nitya, Samvit and Ladini Shakti of the Lord, Antaranga Shakti. Whereas the jivas on the material world, they don't have this potency. Now the question is that why these jivas do not have, when so many jivas they had this Antarang Shakti, why these jivas did not have? And how did they choose to come to the material world from Brahman state? How can they choose? When we see something, when we get attracted to something, then we choose. But there is no question of choosing something in the beginning because you don't have anything to observe or see. What state you were in, that is not defined clearly. You don't have any rasa with the Lord. If you have rasa, that means you are perfected being. So then what state you are in that Brahma Jyoti? And how did you choose to fall back in the material world? So that's why one can blame Krishna for that. And now, of course, there are some questions that arise if we are we are coming from the spiritual world. But Prabhupada says, and it can be reconciled in such a wonderful way that if we are in the spiritual world, it means that we have the Samvit and Ladini Shakti of the Lord, and we are definitely at the stage of Prema, right? Because without that, you cannot go there. So there is no question of fall down. So then what are we doing here? So Prabhupada also says many times that we are seeing dream. It's an illusion that is created by the Lord, that we are here. And we are eternal in the spiritual world. Although we may be here, when we return back, there is no time restriction. Time is zero in the spiritual world. So at what point you fall down, at what point you went back? So it is a dream. You are just seeing a dream. Just you had a thought, I want to experience what Krishna is experiencing, enjoyment. So illusory dream you saw. And as you move from material to spiritual realm, time compresses and becomes zero. So eternally you are there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a way to reconcile it. I'm not saying that this is what this is the siddhant or this is the thing, that this is how this is the reality. And Prabhupada, so different perspective. See, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakrakur, Baldevi Dhyabhushan, they have so many differences. On Siddhant also, as I told you that even Jiva Goswami, he established Swakiya as the culmination. But Vishwanath is saying it is eternal, Parkiya. So Acharyas, they have a lot of differences of opinions. And of course, I don't think this is a point of Siddhant, where we came from. It can be a detail also, no? Prabhupada also says that, okay, you go to spiritual world, you ask Krishna. Better you will answer all your questions. Ha. I mean, of course, in the material world, we seek revenge. If someone pushes us, we'll come out and take revenge. So we will like to have revenge with Krishna, that why did he push us in the material world? So that kind of thing is there.
Conditioned soul.
Yeah.
There is a need to Nitya Siddha state.
So, see, why this Nitya Baddha, why it is eternal? It is because there is no beginning. It does not mean there is no end. If there is no end, then we are eternal in the material world. So, it is because Anadi, there is no time when we left. And there is, so Vishwanath Thakur says very clearly in his Ujjwal Nilamalim commentary, he says that how and when the Jiva came into material world, it is inconceivable. That's it. It's Achintya. In spiritual world. That's what. So of course we are experiencing pain. That's the biggest problem, right? Jiva Goswami also says in his Bhakti Sandarbh that a living entity cannot bear very high pain, and a living entity, I mean, a living entity cannot worship Krishna if he is experiencing a lot of pain, and he cannot worship Krishna if he is experiencing a lot of happiness. That's why we are in the middle. In the material world, Prithvi Lok is in the middle. Swarga, Naraka, happiness, distress. So everything is so systematic, logical, arranged. That's why we are in the middle, because some amount of happiness we require, some amount of pain is required to enlighten us. Okay, that this is not eternal, this is temporary. That's the reason we are into ISKCON and Bhakti. If just imagine if you had eternal forms, youthful forms, then will you ever think of Krishna or God? No way. When you are the supreme enjoyer, then how do you think of anyone else when there is no suffering in your life? So that's the reason. I mean, indirectly, the Lord is forcing us to go back to Him. You can say like that. By the way He has made the arrangement, the material world, because we are controlled and we experience pleasure and pain.
Seventh canto, the Jai Vijay fall down their proper writing that this is special case. His Lord personally instruct they are going there performing Leela and coming here, but it's not true with all other living entities. It's they are not they once they go they cannot come back. That is true, like that.
Yeah, that is understood. First time. So the thing is, there is no first time. In the spiritual world, there is no first time. Of course, I understand. Prabhupada says that the first position that we take in the material world is that of Brahma. But then there is no first. They don't fall. They come in order to assist the Lord. Nityabadas, the jivas who are not perfected. Two categories. No, not in the spiritual world. In Brahman. If you are talking about Brahman, that jiva is coming from Brahman, then the jiva does not have Ladini and Samvit potency of the Lord. Those jivas, they will come to material world. From Brahman, if you say like that. But if you say about coming from Goloka, then I've just shared, that we can reconcile by saying that it's a dream. So technically they are there only. They don't come fall like that. No, no, no. It is not. See, we cannot say that Jiva, Nitya Baddha Jivas, we don't say that they are performing, they are assisting the Lord in the Leela. Nitya Siddha. Yeah, Nitya Siddha, they are doing Leela. Yes, and yes, Nitya Siddha and Nitya Baddha Jivas like that. Yeah. No, I am just saying this is the two different perspective. If you are saying that they are coming from Brahman, then what acharyas say that they who is coming to material world? Those who do not have the Samvit and Ladini, Antarang Shakti of the Lord. So Antarang Shakti is invested in the Jiva to some degree. And those who have that Ladini and Samvit potency, they are eternal in the spiritual world. Like that. No, that eternally, I mean, that's the origin of Jiva. That's what we're talking about. origin of jiva. So we cannot say from material world they went, then material world becomes the origin. I mean, this is the theory, like the acharyas they say, they are not in the spiritual world. About what? Jiva Goswami's Sandarbh. Yeah, and of course, then we have other acharyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says that those who have this Samvit and Ladini, they are only in the spiritual world. So this is the question that Prabhuji started. So there are two perspectives. So the one perspective is the acharyas they say, all the acharyas say that we cannot fall from Vaikuntha. Whereas Prabhupada is saying that we came from Krishna Loka, like that. So I gave both perspective. One is that, okay, if you consider the Brahma Jyoti one, then the jivas, those jivas do not have the internal Shakti, they come in the material world. And if you consider the perspective of Prabhupada that we are coming from Goloka, then it is like a dream. We are seeing a dream in Krishna Loka that we are here. This is what the other perspective we can understand like that. We are already in Krishna Lok. We are not falling down. See, that's why Prabhupada says. So, in one sense, we came from Krishna Lok means that we are creating a situation in which we think that we are in the material world. That's why Prabhupada calls he will call it as illusion and as a dream also. In many of his statements you read. हाँ, Gop Kumar. That meeting, well, yeah, you can say like that. It is like that. I mean, if you believe this theory that we were with Krishna Lok, then it is like we are awake. We sleep for some time, we dream, and we are awake like that in the spiritual world. Because, but there is no time, so you cannot say how many hours you slept. Like that.
There it's a dream, but here it's reality.
We feel it's a reality. Just like you are seeing a dream, your subtle body will take you in many different places in bodies. But you will think, I am personally experiencing that. Like that.
But Prabhupada says, no, this material world is real. It's not illusion.
It is not illusion.
It's real.
Yeah, it is temporary.
Temporary.
But it is illusory. That also Prabhupada says. It is not fake. Prabhupada says it is illusory. Real, temporary, and illusory.
Illusory means?
Illusion means this is not permanent and this is not the reality of our existence.
But it is real, no? Reality is
Real.
means
Yeah.
it is falsity.
Real means it is not false in the way the Mayavadis they say that Jagat Mithya Brahma Satyam. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithyam. It is not false because we are experiencing that thing. So in that sense, it is real. But in a domain, in a big domain, it becomes an illusion. We also think that when we are seeing the dream, we think it is real. But when we wake up, then it becomes an illusion. Like that. You understand? The experience is real. Experience is real. Yeah, it becomes illusory. When we are awake in our original form, then it becomes illusory. The reality is experienced by us because we can see it. We can experience, emotions and all in the material world. But as I said, that it is same as dream. When you are dreaming, you see that the subtle body is giving you some different type of body circumstances, and you are experiencing that as if it has happened to you. That's why when you wake up, you are fearful. Like for example, if you see that you are climbing from the trying to commit suicide, then you see yourself lying in the flood of pool. Exactly. So experience is real, but then what will say? Oh, this was illusory. It was a dream, like that. ओके प्रणतराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की दाई गो प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Ras, Prem Ras. Yeah, I met